What is up, everybody? This is Steel Clone Prepper, and today I've got a new video. This one is talking about one of my new favorite tools. Actually, this is an older favorite tool, but something I just recently reacquired. So today we're going to talk about the Gerber multiplier. So stick around. I think you guys are going to like this one. Alright guys, so before we get started into talking about taking a look at this and all this stuff, I really want to stress out one of the main reasons why I'm so heartfelt with this tool, because I know a lot of people say that some of these tools are lifesavers, but in a sense this really has saved my life. As a firefighter, I've been in some situations where we needed to get through a fence, and it's either risk tearing up your truck, your fire truck, to drive through a barbed wire fence, or cut the wires and go through safely without damaging your truck. Let me explain why it's a very high risk to just drive through fence, barbed wire fence. First of all, that barbed wire can and will wrap around your tires and tear stuff up, pull brake lines. I mean, that barbed wire is really, really strong. It can actually pull some sway bars. It can pull some lines down. It can pull some electrical down. I mean, it's this stuff you don't really want to mess with when it comes to an emergency situation like that, when you have to get out of the way of an oncoming wildfire. So I've actually taken my Gerber pliers out and cut barbed wire fence. Yeah, it did take a little time, just having to cut them one by one, but I was able to cut 5 and 6 strand barbed wire fence with just these. So that's one of the big reasons that I really, really like these pliers and this multi-tool kit, this multi-tool setup, is because it's really tough. It's rugged, and it is just pretty much awesome. All right, guys, so I'm going to turn the camera down. We're going to talk a little bit more about this tool and some of the features this particular model has on it, what this model is, and a lot, just some other stuff. We'll talk some more about just some things in general about this tool. So stick around. It's going to be a little bit of a long video. So let's get this thing turned around, and we'll get it set down on the table, and we'll get started looking at it. All right. All right, guys. So this is it. This is the Gerber multiplier. This model is the mp-600. This is of course, it's a needle nose pliers with a wire cutter right there in the base of the jaw. This thing has 2 different blades in it. Let me open it up. This is the just normal straight edge knife blade, you can see there. And it does come factory really sharp, enough to shave a little bit. It's got a couple of different screwdrivers. This is a smaller flat blade screwdriver, or flat head. Here's the larger one. And then here is the smallest flat blade screwdriver that they have. It also comes with a small file. Let me close these out, and I'll kind of get into a little bit of detail with the file here. This side right here, it only has the knurling on one side, just one angle. I'm not quite sure what you'd really file with these. Maybe as far as it being on the multiplier, in a survival situation, you could sharpen up a fish hook, maybe, stuff like that. Not sure if there's a difference between the crisscross or the crosshatch knurling compared to the single edge knurling on the other side. So it does have a really good file. I've used it a couple times, mostly to file my nails. Yes, guys do that too, but we do it manually with a multiplier. The locking mechanism is very, very easy. you just slide this piece down, and you can slide it down just like that, and it closes. And the only reason I did it earlier without sliding that down is because it is some of the blades were open just like this, so you can see it. The lock slides back up once it's in fully open position. And this side has the other blade. This is a serrated straight blade, no curvature to it at all. I did use this earlier to eat to slice up some cucumbers. It didn't work out because the back of the blade is so thick, so wide, that it just kind of broke them off after cutting a little bit. So let's start opening up some more tools. This thing right here, I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea what this thing is. I have no idea what this thing is at all. I'm not sure if it's some kind of mapping thing or what. It has a Phillips head screwdriver. If you don't believe me, just ask Philip. He'll tell you. Don't know who Philip is, but I'm sure you can find one and ask him. And I think this is, being a prepper and being a survivalist, I think this is probably one of the most important things that we always look for. And this is a can opener. This is a new model that I just recently reacquired, and I've used this a few times in my original one. The only difference between this this model and my original model is I did not have a straight blade on my original one. It was straight and knurled. It was a combination blade, and that model I've seen on Gerber gear. The website is no longer available. This blade was actually a saw. It was a small saw, and it was about the same size, and it was really good. Although I don't like using saws on little combo tools like this, so I really did not use it very much. And plus, where I don't have to, I won't use little hand saws. I mean, I'll use if I'm doing some woodworking stuff, I'd honestly prefer using an axe over a saw any day, even if on bushcrafting and stuff like that. So I just, never been a big fan of hand saws. They just I don't know how to use them, I guess, if that's what you want to say, because they just get stuck a lot. So let's talk about some of the other features we have on this one. This is a small ruler, 3-inch ruler. From the back to right here is 3 inches. I guess in case you want to measure something, measure your big catch. And it has a centimeter ruler. I believe this is centimeter. I'm not quite sure. If you need to measure, for example, if you have a cut on your hand and you want to measure, let's see if I can get a good camera angle. You want to measure maybe the size of the cut or a wound or something. That way you can keep track. It is a very, very good set of pliers. Now, why do I prefer this particular design over the more known butterfly? I'm not quite sure what you'd call them. I would assume to call them butterfly opening knives, where the blade or the handle actually folds all the way backwards to expose the needle nose pliers that would be normally right here. That's the main thing I really want to talk about with these. Is I've had several of those. They may not have been Leatherman or any other top of the line pliers. In fact, I know a couple of them weren't. They were never top of the line. But what I like about these is that if for some reason you do go to cut a wire, and instead of actually cutting it, it just pinches it and traps it between the blades down there, you can just open it apart just like that. Whereas I've had a problem with the wire in the other pliers in the past, that whenever you go to open it up like this, because the handles fold backwards to expose the pliers, they just break over, and as if you're gonna close it, and it's really, really hard to get that wire out. So as I said before, I have actually used this model right here, this particular one, to cut barbed wire, and I've done it several times with my other one. A little history on my first one, real quick. I was about 17 or 18 years old. I was on the fire department, and my coach had a set just like this as my first one, the one I was telling you about that had a saw blade in it, and he gave it to me. And I always liked multi tools, combo tools, whatever you want to call them. I've always loved them, and they've always been really handy to me. It's just, being a country boy like me, living out in the country, you always have to have pliers at some point in the day. No matter where you're at and what you're doing, you always have to have pliers. So I always had tried to keep a set with me, and so he gave me his Gerber, which I loved, fell in love with it almost immediately, just due to some of the features that it had on it. First of all, the opening and closing feature, one-handed open and close. I don't like to use this method when opening my pliers, because to me it's just it's a little less practical when I can just hold it in one hand just like this, just kind of rest it between my fingers and thumb and just sling it out, and it comes right open. And then of course the one-handed closing, and I do a lot of handyman work if I can, and it's really handy, especially whenever I'm installing surveillance cameras, and I'm on a ladder, and I just need to cut a zip tie or something, and I've only got one hand, and I try to keep 3 points of contact on the ladder at all times, try to be safe, not necessarily because I want to be safe, but mostly because I don't want to fall off a ladder. So it does come with a nice sheath, a nylon sheath with the Gerber logo across the cover, and the cover velcros to the sheath, and it's pretty handy. So again, back to the history of my experience with Gerber. I cut several barbed wire fences down before, while on fire scenes, because they, we had to go through them. So in the fire truck, we were going to be trapped between a fence and a fire, and you don't really want to drive through fence in a fire truck, because you don't want to yank all kinds of stuff out from under your truck. So these are tried and tested. In my experience, these are tried and trusted, and I will not use another multiplier other than Gerber. You can probably give me a Leatherman. You can give me this and that and the other, and I may use them, but I definitely won't. It won't be an EDC like my Gerber is. It will be something I probably throw in the toolbox or throw in my bug out bag in case something happens with this. Then I'll have an extra one. But this is going to be my go-to. All right, so a couple of years ago, I lost my original. And I have just not really been up to buying another one. I guess you can say I didn't want to move on. Because these are really sentimental. It was really sentimental to me in the first place. And second of all, these are not cheap at all. These are about, I think this one was about $60, $50 or $60. And my girlfriend gave this to me. She surprised me. She said, "I know you talk about this a lot and you wanted one, so I went out and bought you one. So surprise." And, I wish I could have recorded the opening of this, I mean, it was just like my eyes lit up and it was Christmas for me. So, yeah, if you guys are in the market for looking for a nice multi-tool and are not sure what to get, of course, go out and do your own research. If you can spare to buy a couple of different brands and you want to do the research yourself, by all means do it. More power to you. But if you don't and you really want to get an honest to God opinion on what kind of multi-tool you should get, Gerber has different models. They even have the butterfly opening tools, I believe I saw on the website earlier. And but this is my favorite. This is my personal favorite because it has stuff that I use on a more regular basis. You know, of course, the pliers, the screwdrivers, the flat blade, and the Phillips head or the cross head. It has the serrated and the straight edge blade. It has a file, which I don't normally use near as much. And it has the weird thing that I don't know what is. And please let me know in the comments what you guys know about that weird looking thing. It looks kind of like an awl. And as a survivor and prepper, or survivalist and prepper, it has the can opener, which is something that is probably one of the most essential things a prepper can have is a can opener. So, yeah. If you guys are out there looking for multi-tools and are not sure which one to get, my suggestion as a prepper, as a firefighter, and as for law enforcement, definitely get you one of these. These are probably one of the best things you could ever have. Guys, I'm going to end this video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. If you have subscribed, make sure that notification bell is on so you can get notified to any of my new content. If you have any questions or comments or want to know where to get this, or you have any more specific questions about this model, this is the mp-600 by Gerber. If you have any questions or comments about anything on my channel, just let me know down below in the comments, and be sure to check out my next video which will be coming up shortly here in a couple of days. I'm going to go ahead and record a couple tonight and then post them up. This one will be on by Tuesday morning on July. Is it July already? Or I'm sorry, August. It's already August. All right, guys. So thanks for watching. Stay safe and keep prepping.